everyone, welcome back to The Black Suit. I'm GeGe and I'm a full-time attorney who started this channel to provide tips and guidance to empower women in the workplace. On today's episode, I'm going to talk about some tips for people who are starting their first jobs. Share with you some really important ones toward the end of this video, so be sure to watch the video to the end and I'll provide you a really crucial tip then. Stay tuned. So my first tip for the first-time job holders out there is that you should ask a lot of questions. And I get this tip from the book, the autobiography, I believe, that Carly Fiorina, the former head of Hewlett-Packard, wrote maybe about 10 years ago. And I'll show the picture up here if you're interested. And I'll provide a link down below if you want to get a hold of that book. I read it because she broke a lot of barriers as a female executive. So I was curious how she did it, what helped her, what got her to where she got. Now, she might not be the most popular person, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding what she did while she was at Hewlett-Packard. But all that aside, I think there are still some great things to learn from a successful female like her. So I read that book when I was in college, and one of the things that still resonates with me to this day, now that I'm about 10 years plus out of college, is that how she says she got to the top was by starting out and asking a lot of questions. She was never afraid to ask questions to get to the root of things, to question things that were done the way they were done, because as a new job holder, you're not going to understand a lot of what's going on in your company, why things are done the way they are. Don't be afraid to question things. And just because things have been done a certain way for a very long time doesn't mean that that's the most efficient way to do it or the best way to do it. You are allowed to ask questions and dig deeper into why things are done the way they are and perhaps seek ways to improve it. Don't be afraid to ask questions. My second tip is that you want to track everything you do, because somewhere along the way you might come across a manager who questions everything you do. And that's when you need to sort of have evidence of what you did, why you did what you did, and to prove what you did was legitimate. So for example, in my experience, when I've had to write long memorandums, do research projects, research law, whatnot, I try to track every law that I looked at or every case that I looked at, every legal authority that I looked at, put it down on paper. Even the ones that I don't end up using in the final product I'm producing, I track it down, because that way you don't duplicate your own efforts. You don't read the same case twice. And that way, if somebody pops an unexpected question at you, you can look at your trail, your research trail, the record you created, and know, oh yes, I already thought about that. Oh yes, the case you just mentioned, I already looked at that. It doesn't apply because X, Y, and Z. Now, if you are doing a project like writing a contract or something that's not research related, you still want to preserve a trail of what you did. Ask yourself some questions that would be applicable to the contract, write those questions down, cover those questions, address them in the contract or whatever project you're working on, just so you know you've covered all your bases, and tick off things as you go along so you know that you're producing a good product that is comprehensive. You may be questioned on why you put certain things into the contract, why you left certain things out. You want to have a documentation, record, trail of the thought processes that went into the final product. So with anything you do, I highly recommend trying to get really granular, try to break down what you're doing, what are the different parts of what you're doing, and record the steps you've taken, even record the steps you haven't taken, because sometimes that negative is really crucial too. People might want to know, what did you not do? Because those things that you did not do might be things that are more important than the things that you did do. So make sure you keep a trail. And that's something that I've found to be very useful in my line of work even now, is to track the process. Track my thought process, track my work process. My third tip is that, oh, hold on. If you've enjoyed the video up to this point, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button to give my channel some support so that YouTube will boost my videos to a broader audience so others can benefit from these tips too. Did you hit that thumbs up button? Okay, now I'm going to continue. Thank you very much. I always tell mentees that networking is so important. You want to network not just inside the firm, but outside too. You want to get involved in community organizations. You want to go to bar associations. You want to go to hobby clubs. Those work too. You don't have to always network with other lawyers. Frankly, other lawyers might not be the best people to network with. You might want to think about networking with people in business, people in finance, people who don't do exactly what you do, because those people are going to have a different circle of people that they are friends with, and then you can tap into that different circle instead of staying within the same circle or the same discipline as yourself. So network inside and outside the firm. Be sure to keep that in mind as you go along. Life gets really busy, but please don't forget to network. I've read books that have told me that the minute you get into your current job, you should already be thinking about what your next job is. So bear in mind that tip that I've gotten, that you should be thinking about your exit as soon as you get a job. This sounds weird, but I think there's some truth to that, because more likely than not, you're not going to be at your current job forever. That's just not how jobs work anymore. Nobody really stays at their job, especially millennials don't stay at their job for their entire lives. They move around a lot, maybe every 3 to 4 years. And I've heard if you're a tech person, you move around like every 2 to 3 years even. So you're going to move around more likely than not. So be on the lookout for those next opportunities, for those exit opportunities the minute you start a job. And the way you do that is by networking, figuring out what else is out there, what you want to do next, and aim for that. Have an intention set, have a purpose and an objective. My next tip for your first job is don't forget to be nice to people. Again, life gets really busy. I understand completely, but don't forget to treat the people around you with respect, especially the people who are working for you, like your assistants, your paralegals, support staff of any kind. And to do that, to be nice, I think one of the crucial things you could do is buy gifts. People love food in the office kitchen, so buy donuts, buy cupcakes. Something small can go a long way in showing appreciation and just being kind to the people around you at work who support you and make your life easier. My last tip is that please remember, this is the important tip that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. And if you watched up till now, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. My last tip is that the first 2 years of your job, any job you hold, are the most important years. I've been told this by people who are older and wiser. You are going to set your reputation within those first 2 years. So in those first 2 years of holding a position, a new job, be sure to be a team player, work hard, be open to taking on difficult challenges and jumping in to teams and cases, projects that you might not be familiar with, just to help others out. So you really want to be at your best in those first 2 years. So that's all for my tips for a first-time job holder. I hope they were useful. Again, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button yet, please do so. Please also subscribe to my channel. It would help me out a lot. And also, please feel free to comment below about what tips you found helpful or what tips you would provide to those who are holding their first-time jobs. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.